Welcome to Fully Booked, the bookish podcast where I'll chat about all things book and reading related. Whether you're a new or a pro reader, there's something for everyone to learn. I'm here to help you on your reading journey and find that next great read that will keep you fully booked. Hello, readers, and welcome to episode 23 of Fully Booked. I'm your host, Natalie, and today's episode, I thought it'd be fun to do something a bit different and kick off the month of Valentine's Day. If you didn't know already, although I've made it pretty clear if you've been around here a while, I am a hopeless romantic and always long for more romance and love in my life and in my books. Romance is the main reason I got back into reading, and part of the reason I keep reading, even though I have been trying to read other genres lately. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't find a way to automatically filter my read books by genre on Goodreads. They really got to step up their game there. But I can see from my story graph, which I was still using last year, that 54 out of 100 books read were in the romance genre, making up more than half of my reads. And I can see that I have 113 romance books on my Goodreads TBR. So it's safe to say that romance isn't going anywhere in 2025 or beyond. Since I've read so many romance books at this point, I thought, what better way to incorporate romance on the podcast than to go through a whole list of popular tropes? So, what I'm going to do today is take 50 different tropes that I personally compiled and mark each one with a yes, no, or maybe in regards to how much I do or don't like that trope. Keep in mind that there are likely tropes that I missed on this list, but I wanted to compile the most popular ones that I've seen in recent publishing years and that all of you will likely know as well. Also, to keep it randomized, as I feared I might have bias if the tropes are ordered or grouped in a certain way, I'm using a random choice generator to pick each one from the list, so I'm not just picking all the ones I like in one go. This episode is definitely going to be more of a fun, chatty time, so like I've said before, get busy or get comfy and buckle in for yes, no, or maybe romance version. Okay, everyone, so as you can see, we've moved on over to the screen recording app, and I have everything set up. I have my list of 50 tropes all written down here, and I just gave a little title there, popular romance tropes. The reason I just wanted to use a random choice generator is because when I was making a list of the different tropes, I realized that I was grouping certain ones together because I feel like that's just what my brain does when I'm coming up with ideas and different categories of things. I just tend to group similar things together, and I didn't want to have kind of like, I don't know, certain bias if I was going through similar tropes, especially ones that I like versus ones that I don't like as much. So I put them all in here, and that way we can have everything generated randomly. But anyways, I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's get into it. Who knows how long I'm going to talk, because obviously there's 50 tropes on here. I don't want to spend too much time on each one, but as I've told you guys already, I love romance books, and I love all the different tropes that come up in romance books. So we'll see what happens. So I think it's safe to say that you should get cozy or get cleaning if you're like me and you love to listen to podcasts while you're cleaning or doing your other chores, or you could be in the car driving somewhere and listening to this even as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and just get started. Okay, our first trope is small town romance. For this one, I'm going to say maybe, just because I feel like it's one that I used to like a lot, maybe earlier on in my reading journey and when I was picking up romance books, just because I just love the small town setting, how everyone knows each other, not even just the two love interests themselves, but the cast of characters in these towns are always so funny and lovable and kind of silly and over the top at times too, but you kind of put that aside when you read romance, especially. But I feel like this one's maybe now because some of the books I've read recently just haven't been the best quality, especially the writing style in general. So I'm going to mark that down as maybe. Also, I just realized that I am going to be taking some time in between each one because I do want to mark down my answers for each one because I don't know, I just want to remember for myself and what I thought of each trope. And if I have to go back and watch the footage afterwards and mark down all my answers, that's going to be a lot more timely versus if I just do it now as I go. So if I'm taking a little bit of time, I'm like writing down, that's why. Okay. Anyways, let's keep going. Second trope, ooh, best friend's sister. Okay, this one's hard because this is not one I've read a lot. I can only think of one book right now, to be honest, that I read that had best friend's sister. So this might get repetitive times. I'm gonna say maybe for this one. That's kind of the unfortunate thing about a lot of these tropes. Like there's a good chunk of them that have come up and I've read in the romance books that I've completed so far, but some of them I have to think really hard of like when did I read a book like that? And yeah, this one I feel like if I've only read in one book, I can't really justify a hard yes or no. So there you go. Okay. Moving on to number 3. Ooh, medical romance. Okay. This is going to sound so bad. This is another one that I think I've only read one book. Technically one book by medical. Oh, and what I mean by medical romance, I might explain it again as the other ones come up too. Basically, I have a bunch written down that are related to what job or industry that our two love interests work in. So medical romance basically means two people that are a doctor of any sort, whether it's in a hospital or a family care setting, or yeah, even if they're like a pediatrician, or they could even be an EMT. Anything related to the medical or the healthcare field, I guess is basically what I meant. And for all of these, I pretty much mean either actually one of the characters or both characters. Usually both characters. I feel like that's the case I meant when I wrote this one down. But again, yeah, this is one that I can technically only think of one. Maybe two. I think it's hard because some of these job-related type romances, like some will be very integrated into the storyline, like their type of work, what they do, how it influences their life, how it influences their relationships, and the romance that they have with the male or female love interest. Other times, it's kind of just in the background of the romance, and it's not really part of the story at all, which is why this one I have to say maybe, because I can't think of one that the medical type job was super integrated into the story. And it's also going to take me time to scroll through my list because this is not in the same order that I wrote it down in my notes. Okay. Anyways, number 4. Ooh, older woman, younger man, age gap. Okay. I think I have another specific trope written down related to age gap. So for this one, I can safely say this one is a yes for me because every single romance that I've written that has an older woman and younger man is quite endearing. There's something endearing sometimes about a younger man who's with an older woman, and I feel like sometimes like when the man is younger, or at least the way it's written in these romance books, he just like puts so much effort in and tries so hard. Maybe it's because like I don't know, there's some sort of wanting to impress, someone who's older than you in general, and so that's what happens. But yeah, I just feel like the men really try so hard, and it's kind of almost like the if he would he could kind of thing with a lot of these older woman younger man romances. So I'm gonna say yes. Older woman, sorry, I was just verifying. Yes, older woman younger man, yes. Okay, moving on to number 5. Ooh, second chance romance. Automatically this one is a yes. And it's funny because I think I can say yes so automatically for this one and some other ones I put down because I feel like all the ones that are my automatic yeses I wrote at the beginning of this list. And so I remember writing this one down specifically. And I think with second chance romance, it doesn't even matter what exactly, like what kind of romance it is, the types of characters, how old the characters are, how long it's been since they've seen each other. Any second chance romance. It could be a second chance marriage. It can be just a second chance like dating relationship. It could be from when they were really young, like childhood, like teenage romance, first love, or it could just be another relationship that they had that was just really good, but it was just let go, like wrong time, right person kind of thing. Yeah, second chance romance just always ends up hitting for me. It doesn't really matter exactly what type of romance novel it is. Okay. Oh boy, this might take a bit longer than I thought. Ooh, incest is number 6. Oh my god. I don't even know why I wrote this one down because, just for your information, I did consult, I think, some websites and resources online to see what types of tropes there were. Like, most of these I came up with on my own, but I did look up a list, and I don't know if I saw incest exactly on the websites I was looking at, but it's one that I felt like could come up. And also, incest is a real thing. I know we don't think about it much nowadays, but it can happen. I don't know how many cultures or religious practices still encourage incest, to be honest. Because obviously in Western society, this is highly frowned upon. But I think there probably are still some cultures that are like incest is acceptable, which is why I wrote this one down. The only problem is I can't think of any book I've read that had this trope, obviously, for obvious reasons. But I feel like there probably are some books where this would come up, which is why I wrote it down. And this one is definitely an automatic no. A resounding no. I don't think I even need to get into why. If you don't know what incest is, I think I'll just tell you, go look it up at your discretion. I don't even want to get into it, honestly. I don't know. Maybe I should have written this one down, but I think I wanted to make it, keep things spicy. And there's tons of stuff people are putting in romance books nowadays besides like specific tropes. So you never know what come up. And okay, yeah, I'm just gonna leave it there. Let's keep going. Ooh, 7. Writing to someone they like but hate IRL. In quotes, you got mail. Okay, this one, I know it sounds very specific, but I wrote this one down because I think I've read at least 2 or 3 books that had this trope. And if you haven't seen that movie, oh dear, I can't remember the exact plot, so I might butcher it a bit. Please feel free to look it up for yourself. But I believe in that one, the 2 main characters are rival bookstore owners, so in real life they know each other and they hate each other. But I think they're writing emails back and forth to each other. That's why it was called You've Got Mail. It was kind of around the early 90s when that movie was set and made. So email was starting to be used during that time by some people. I don't know. I could be wrong, but email, letters, something like where they're writing back and forth to each other and they can't see each other's real face and know who they are or anything about each other's real identity. And I feel like obviously I see this one come up a lot now because obviously society has progressed a lot in terms of technological advances. And so, it's very easy to be online nowadays and talk to someone on Instagram even and not even technically know their real personality, especially with AI too. You could literally be talking to a bot for all you know nowadays, honestly, online, which is a little scary sometimes. And I was gonna say, I feel like the most recent memory I kind of remember is just for the summer, where it kind of started off like that. Like they kind of didn't know much about each other because they were like literally replying to each other on Reddit. I forget it was the male or the female main character that wrote something first to Reddit and that started. But anyways, this trope has come up multiple times, and this one I'm gonna say yes because all the books I read I quite enjoyed, and I think there's something so cute and exciting when the final reveal does happen or the main character does realize, oh my gosh, this person was the same person all along that I've been talking to, and I've been making all of these things up about this person that I thought was 2 different people in my head. I don't know if that made sense to you guys. That made sense to me. I think the reason I've liked it too is because usually it's the girl that takes longer to realize that the guy is the same person that she's been talking to online and in real life. And it kind of ends up being a he fell first scenario and trope as well, which I really love. I probably wrote that down somewhere as well in this list. Um, but yeah, the reveal is always fun in these types of books, which is why this is a yes. Okay, gotta keep it moving, guys. Let's see. Number 8. Ooh, First Love. Okay, this one is an automatic yes as well. Which is weird because. Okay, this one's a strange one. I feel like I have technically read a lot of books with First Love, if you consider, yeah, like childhood, friends of lovers, teen romance also mushes along with that. The only thing I can say is that when I wrote this down, I feel like I kind of meant First Love and then a type of book where they actually stay together and you progress and see their relationship. So kind of more like a love story rather than a romance novel because I feel like so many technically first love tropes, yeah, end up getting mashed together with childhood friends to lovers and second chance romance where they were together but then they're apart for like a number of years and then they finally get back together and yeah, their adult years. Excuse me. Yeah, I can't think of a book where it was first love and they actually stayed together. But I guess it more like if I just think about this trope in general, then I would say that this is a yes. So, yes, let's keep going. Okay, also I don't know why my screen capture is like this right now, but okay. Number 9, royalty romance. Oh, okay. I don't know if I'm gonna get hate for this one, but this one, I have to say no. Because, okay, again, I haven't read too many romances with this trope. Sorry, I'm just consulting my list one more time. Okay. Yes, I haven't read too many romances with this trope, but every single one that I've read, I just didn't like. I'm not really interested in royalty. I think the one exception was I enjoyed reading the Selection series recently. I just finished the original trilogy for that one. And obviously, the male love interest is a prince of the entire nation. So I enjoyed that one, but otherwise, I don't know what it is. I have no interest in sorry, I'm trying to talk way too fast and getting out my words. I have no interest in royalties and royal people. I don't know. I had more obsession probably when I was younger, and of course, it was exciting when Prince William got married. I think I remember watching that on TV with my parents when the wedding was being broadcast and everyone could see and watch. Also, sorry, my throat's getting dry. I need to take some water. Okay. Excuse me. Yeah, I don't know why. I've just been one of those people that has never had interest in royalty. Like, even when I've tried to read memoirs, like when I read Prince Harry's Spare memoir last year, I didn't think it was that interesting. Like there were some parts, and I also didn't realize how much the media is involved in the British royalty's life, especially. But other parts of his life, and parts about being royal, I don't know. It didn't resonate with. Maybe it's because I am just the average lowly citizen. I'm like I can't relate to this. But yeah, there's something about royalty that doesn't resonate with me. So if you are a Royals fan, fan of anything royalty of all, um, sorry. But that's just me. Okay. Finally, number 10. Ooh, forbidden romance. Okay, this is hard. This is another one where I can't think of too many because I feel like this is one that comes up more in fantasy or romantasy rather than a straight up romance novel. Oh, this is hard. I was gonna say yes for this one, but I feel like I'm not feeling definite on that. So I'm gonna say maybe. Um, because there is something about obviously the whole Romeo and Juliet when they can't be together type thing. But I have not read enough books ooh, with a forbidden romance. Sorry, I don't know what happened. I accidentally like put a space in my list and then I don't know what's going on with the numbering there. Okay, anyways, now that you guys care. Okay, I'm gonna just keep it moving because wow, this is gonna be a long episode. Ooh, number 11, Sister's Best Friend. Sister's Best Friend. Ooh, I can't think of any Sister's Best Friend romances that I've read. Oh, okay, I can kind of think of one, but technically, Okay, because I'm gonna tell you guys, the book I'm thinking about is This Summer Will Be Different. But I feel like that one kind of doesn't count because I don't think we get Felix's point of view in that one at all. We only get the main character. I think her name was Lucy. I know, I was trying to remember right now. I think Bridget was the sister. Yeah. Um, and Felix was her brother, which is why he liked her sister's best friend. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. I'm really talking out loud a lot here. I'm not trying to remember these books. So yeah, I don't know if that one counts because we don't really get his point of view in that one. It's only Lucy's, the friend's point of view. Um, okay, because I'm hesitating, I'm just gonna put maybe. I feel like if I'm hesitating too much, then it's a maybe. It is not a yes or a no. Okay, moving along. Number 12, Fated Mates. Uh, I can only think of probably a romantasy book I read. I don't even know. Actually, I don't want to sound dumb, but I read Akatar so long ago, like and literally only the first book. I haven't even read the rest of that series. I don't know if Akatar counts as Fated Mates. I think I'm a little confused actually about Fated Mates. Like it's one I've heard about, but because I don't read enough fantasy and romantasy, I don't know exactly what would constitute that. I feel like Bride might be an example of this because it's like a fantasy slash paranormal romance, but I DNF'd that one. So, I feel like the Fated Mates me, I don't know. There's something about it that almost gives me an ick. It's kind of weird to me, and I don't have an explanation. I can't really explain why. Yeah, I think anything that's more on the supernatural, paranormal side of romance is not for me. So I'm gonna say no. And again, I just want to give a reminder, guys. I know we still got a long way to go, but this is all just in fun. This is just something I just wanted to record and film. Um, for all my other listeners who are romance lovers, and you get to see, I guess, kind of what kinds of romance novels I like in a sense, and tropes. And, if I don't like something, that's okay. And if you do like that trope, then that's fine. And you go do your thing and read those books, and I'll keep doing my thing. Okay. Lucky number 13. Ooh, Best Friend's Ex. This one, I'm going to say yes. This is one, again, I think I can only think of one or two books. And I can think of one book in particular. I think it was the arc that I got for Roadside Attractions. Which, by the way, you guys should go read that book now that it's out as well. Just trying to promote small authors on here. Anyways, but yeah, that one was technically Best Friend's Ex. Although, again, okay, this is going to sound bad. It kind of doesn't count because it was all from Stella, the girl's point of view. And technically you're going from her point of view. She falls in love with her ex's best friend. But in this case, I don't know why. I'm just going to count that one because, yeah, I love that book so much and how their romance progressed. Because it was like it was also like kind of an enemies to lovers. There was forced proximity. So many great tropes in that book, and the way it was done, the story ended up that I enjoyed. So I'm going to put yes if I can ever find it on my list. Best Friend's Ex. Okay, let's keep it rolling. Number 14, Workplace Romance. Ooh, this one I'm going to say yes. I guess this one is weird. It could be a little more generic because it could be any type of workplace. I feel like I typically think of corporate work, though, when I think of this one, and not necessarily a very specific setting like a school or a hospital. It could be those, but I just think of like an office romance, basically. And okay, I know it's not a book. I know it is a TV show, but if you guys don't know, which I don't think I ever, I don't talk about TV shows and movies, obviously, that much on this podcast because we're a book podcast. But my favorite TV show of all time, I would safely say it's of all time, is The Office. I love that show. It's my favorite show of all, not even just out of the sitcoms that I've watched. And part of the reason that I originally loved that show because I love it more for, like the overall storyline, the characters, their progression and development. But originally, I just loved the show because I'm Jam fan. I gotta say, I love Jim and Pam. I know people probably think their story's kind of boring and generic. Also because not a lot happens compared to other shows where there's like more tension, a lot of conflict, like the whole on and off romance kind of trope that comes up more in other sitcoms when there's a romance subplot. But Jim and Pam, I just love because they're like a typical, yeah, like a workplace office romance, kind of a friends, like your friends to lover situation. And yeah, a couple other times that I've read workplace romance, I've just ate it up. I know, okay, I'm gonna say this. I know that a lot of these tropes also tend to tie in or be bunched together with other tropes. Like, it's very rare that you read a book nowadays that is only friends to lovers because just so many other parts of the characters' personality and usually their career is tied into the romance story. So yeah, a lot of these are hard because they're kind of going to be bunched together, which is probably why there's so many similar ones that I like. But yes, yes, for workplace romance, I probably should have done a better job ordering my list because it's taking me forever to find them in my notes. But okay. Anyways, number 15. I don't know why I'm calling out numbers. I feel like a game show host. That was just something really random. Oh yeah, I got up really quickly to take a little break because I was getting hungry. Not that you guys need to know this, but yeah, I think I was just thinking about that when I got up and I was walking around for a bit. Is that every time I called out a number in this episode, I feel like a game show host. And I was trying to remember if Price is Right, they all have numbers on the show, or if the contestants each have their names on their shirt. Because yeah, I don't know why I was thinking Price is Right specifically, and then it's like, you, come on down. Maybe that shows you a bit of my age and some of the stuff that I was watching with my parents and whatnot growing up, from what I just said there. But okay, anyways. I don't want to ramble too much, so number 15. Ooh, Brothers Love Triangle. Okay. This is one that I haven't read that many, but I can specifically think of the books that I had read with this. I feel like, I don't know if it's just me, this is one that comes up in YA romance or books in general. Like, I can't think of a single adult book where a Brothers Love Triangle has come up. Oh, and specifically, I mean by this is usually it's our FMC, and the two male interests are brothers. And she likes or loves both of them, and they both like and love her. Okay, this one I'm gonna say yes. I feel like there's always drama. I have to admit though, one thing about Brothers Love Triangle, how do I say it? I feel like there's always one that the FMC kind of prefers more over the other. And then, I don't know, she kind of ignores and doesn't treat the less preferred brother as kindly. Could even be mean to them. I don't know. Yeah, Brothers Love Triangle, that's the only iffy thing about it. I don't like how the FMC will act towards each of them. And of course the indecisiveness too, be like, oh my gosh. Like one chapter will be like, oh, I love him. And then the next one will be like, oh no, I love the other brother. And that kind of drives me crazy, this trope. But I think in a sense, I also love to be driven crazy because, just, like I said, it creates so much more drama and tension in the story. Whoops. Sorry, I wrote no. This one is yes. Okay. Keep moving. Oh, May December is number 16. 15 to 25 year age gap. Okay, this one I looked up specifically because with the one I wrote before where it was older woman, younger man, I was thinking more along the lines of like a 5, maybe a 10-year age gap at most, because I feel like 10 years is kind of cut off for like it's kind of acceptable nowadays. But I feel like, yeah, going into like especially 15 to 20 years beyond that age gap is when age gap starts to get iffy. And this is actually a specific name. It's not even just for romance tropes. This is like actually what I think people refer to when there's a huge age gap. They call it a May December romance. So this one, I'm sorry. I don't know if like I'm a little old fashioned in the sense that I can't agree with age is just a number. But I feel like age, unfortunately, in reality, it does matter and play a huge role. And especially when you're with your romantic partner. So I'm going to say no for this one, unfortunately. Um, Not that I don't know, judging harshly if you are actually yourself in a, huge age gap with your partner. That is good for you. Like, honestly, I have to give it to people who are in a big age gap partnership. Because if you're able to make it work, despite, things people might say and just certain things that come up in life and society, then that is good for you. But for me personally, myself, this is not something I prefer in my romance or in my personal life. Oh, and probably something I mentioned, my husband's only 3 years older than me, so not a huge age gap there for myself. Okay, let's keep moving. 17, unexpected heir slash inheritance. This is funny. I'm thinking about the same book I was thinking about for Brothers Love Triangle, um, and that is Inheritance Games. I guess I didn't need to say it, but just so you guys know. Because that's the only book I can think of right now with an unexpected heir and that she gets left an inheritance. And it's literally in the title. Okay, this one, I have to say maybe because, again, I have not read enough books with that trope that I can say with confidence. But I did love the Inheritance Game, so you guys already know. You've heard me go on multiple times about that series. So maybe. Okay, 18, Grumpy Sunshine. Uh, I'm hesitating, so I already know this is not a yes. But this one's a little tricky because sometimes it's done okay in books, but other times it is not, and I detest the one character, which is usually the male is the grumpy one. I can't think of too many where the girl has been grumpy. I can only think of Christmas Tree Farm was maybe the first one I read recently, where the girl was kind of the grumpy one. Kind of? Yeah, she was the grumpy one. Okay, since I seem so on the fence, I'm gonna say maybe, but this one can be a no from me, I feel like sometimes, because I don't know, this is just one that I feel like it's starting to get overdone. Like everyone for a while was reading these books and saying, "Oh, I love Grumpy Sunshine," and like, how she'll bring out the best in him and bring out his character and like, truly underneath he's actually like a really kind and gentle person. But maybe it's just getting overdone for me, and that's why I'm kind of like, ooh, 19, One Night Stand. This one I gotta say maybe because I have not read enough. I I can't even think of titles that I've read when it comes to some of these tropes. So I know I'm kind of questioning why I put some of these down, but just because some of them are popular and like they do come up in certain types of romance books. Just obviously not the ones that I am reading. And One Night Stand is obviously it's an iffy thing in real life for me too, personally. So it makes sense that it's kind of iffy for me in reading romance. Okay, number 20. Ooh, cowboy romance. Okay, this one's actually a bit of a bummer because I put this one down because I have a feeling already that I'm gonna like cowboy romance. It's funny because I have a bunch of like Elsie Silver's series that I want to read. Because even though this is funny because I hated Flawless. I know some people are probably gonna gasp they heard that. If that is your favorite book, but I did not like the way Flawless was written. And it's bad. I probably didn't give it enough a chance because like I literally read a couple chapters, probably got 10-15% of the way in, and then I just never went back to it. Yeah, I couldn't get over the way she wrote the characters and their names. Their names in that one of the girls, I just couldn't take it seriously, and so I put it down. But I have a feeling I would like cowboy romance. There's something about it that's just fun, and I also like people who are from the South in general, and the whole Southern charm thing does kind of exist. It's true, and I'm a big fan. I wish I met more Southern people in my real life because I love that Southern charm and just kind of, I think, the hospitality that comes along with, yeah. people who grew up in the South and some of that culture there. Obviously, it doesn't exist in every single person who grew up there, but yeah, it's a big part of the Southern. I don't know if culture sounds weird to say, if that's the right word, but sure. But because I have not actually read a cowboy romance, like I literally haven't picked up or finished any cowboy romances. I only have them saved. Like I have, I think it's called the Gold Ranch series, or what is her Wild Love, Elsie's Wild Silver's Wild Love series called? I don't remember. And then obviously I have Done and Dusted is on my TBR. But again, because I haven't actually read this, I have to put maybe. But I have a feeling that's gonna turn into a yes once I read one. I hope I'm not disappointed, to be honest, because that would be very sad. Hey readers, I hope you're enjoying the episode so far, and hear me out before you hit skip. I'm so grateful for all my listeners who are with me on this reading journey, and I'd like to ask that if you haven't yet, please leave a rating and review as it helps others find the podcast. Also, please consider supporting the podcast financially as it helps me bring you more exciting content, and you'll get some extras like bonus and subscriber only episodes, early access to new episodes, and much more. The link to donate will be in the show notes below, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com/fullybookedpod. Thank you so much again for choosing to listen to Fully Booked, and now back to the episode. Ooh, opposites attract. This one I'm going to say yes. It's kind of weird because this one is probably a little bit overdone. Like, I feel like it's very typical nowadays that romance books are written that, yeah, the female and the male are not completely like 100% opposites, but they have enough traits that they could be deemed opposites. And I don't know, I think there's just something more beautiful about when there's differences in people, but they're still able to come together, to accept each other, and obviously, ultimately, in a romance, to love each other. I don't know. I think it's a beautiful picture, and it's something to like even keep in mind in like society in general. That like the differences that we have between each individual person, but like how do we work together? It could be working together in a specific situation. If you're coworkers and you have to work together on the same team. Yeah, it could literally be anything. And I just think it's so nice. Okay, let's go. I hope you guys don't mind that I keep scrolling back and forth too. I don't know how to change the area size of like my screen recording right now. So I said it very small before, but now I have to keep like scrolling, going back and forth. So hopefully that's not too bothersome. Okay, anyways. Good boy, bad girl. Ooh, good boy, bad girl. I feel like this one's a maybe because I have a feeling that this is one I will like. I feel like when I've heard people talk about books that have this trope, I'm always very intrigued. There's something about when the boy is the good one, the gentle one, the patient one, and the girl is usually reckless, impatient, usually kind of selfish as well. And kind of, yeah, the way the boy basically tames her throughout the story and the romance that develops is always very intriguing to me. But I haven't read one still. I still haven't read one. Or I don't know. I can't think of one. I can't think of very just, yeah, specific instance of like, yeah, this good boy, bad girl. So I'm going to put maybe. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of maybes on this list now that I'm going through and I'm looking. Okay. Go. Oh, that's funny. Good girl, bad boy. I don't know if this is going to sound bad, but I know I have a personal preference. I'm not really into bad boys, which, how do I say this? I guess it's okay if you're into, a certain kind of bad boy, or more just like bad boy as an aesthetic. Like, he has tats, but he's not actually a bad boy. I don't know if that makes sense to anyone, and I don't know how some people are gonna feel about that. But I think I know you know what I mean. But yeah, even just the aesthetic and everything overall, I'm not into bad boys. I think it's like their demeanor, especially the way bad boys are written in romances. They tend to be grumpy. They don't really care about other people. more of them, yeah, kind of keep to themselves and just, I don't know, I don't really like that, those qualities, those personality traits in someone. It actually doesn't even matter if they're a man or a woman, but especially a man. I'm gonna read a romance. I love the soft men. I can't help it. So for this one, nope. Okay, let's keep going. Oh my god, we're not even halfway through this list yet. Almost. Oh, best friend's brother. Best. Okay, this is funny. This is the one that applies to This Summer Will Be Different. And I loved that book, as I already mentioned earlier in this episode. Um, okay, so for that reason, I'm gonna say yes for this one. Oh, there's maybe like one other book otherwise I've read with this trope. Um, I think with these types too, like best friend's brother, best friend's sister, it just it just hits because of the secrecy, the sneaking around in the book. Um, yeah, some situations where they get into forced proximity, but they have to keep it secret. It's just, you know, thrilling. There, yeah, it adds some sort of excitement and tension. Okay, finally, halfway through number 25. Ooh, vampire, werewolf, paranormal romance. Okay, a lot of you are gonna be very disappointed in my answer right now. But I am not into vampires and werewolves at all. I have no interest. I've never had interest. I tried to read Twilight, I think back in 2023, I want to say. And it's sad because I think I got about halfway through the book, maybe 40 something percent. And that book was moving so slow. And I found it so annoying how, I don't know, dumb I felt like Bella was. That she's like wondering, oh my god, is he actually a vampire? And she was trying to research and like logically come to conclusion. I'm like, girl, the pale skin and like, you know, whatever other giveaways there were in front of her, it's like he's a vampire. Like it's obvious. Like why are you taking so long? And why are we spending so much time on this? Like seeing her trying to figure out if he's a vampire. Like I'm not interested in her finding out. I want to get to like the actual romance and stuff. And yeah, the relationship between her and Edward in the first book and their progression was slow, kind of weird for me at times. The whole watching her sleep thing. I think maybe I read that part in the book. Yeah, I don't know. It was all just weird to me, and I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't like vampires and werewolves. I just don't. And that's obvious because, again, I DNF'd Bride last year. Yeah, I'm not into this. And honestly, I don't think you are ever gonna catch me reading any paranormal, vampire, werewolf, specifically romances. It's not gonna happen. I'm sorry, guys. Enemies to lovers. Okay. This is interesting because this is one that's overdone, and I've gotten tired of it at times. But I still pick up books of enemies to lovers, and do I still enjoy it? Yes. So for this one, I'm gonna say yes. Actually, even though I've seen it so many times, yes. I can't help it. There's something about, when hate turns to love, it's endearing, I guess is the word I'll use. Oh, billionaire romance, 1MC. Okay, I think what I meant by this is like, usually most books it's like the MMC who's the billionaire and he, seduces or entices the female love interest somehow. But I haven't read that many. And I have to say, what books that I've heard of with a billionaire romance are not intriguing at all. Because I've heard descriptions of like the type of character. I feel like billionaire, it kind of falls along the same line as the bad boy aesthetic and personality traits. It's just something that I'm not into. And not that every billionaire, obviously in real life, is going to be like this. I realize that. But in books, they tend to be kind of cold, snobby sometimes, kind of out of touch with reality because they've grown up in wealth and they don't know anything else. So, okay, I don't know if it sounds bad because I haven't really actually read this one, but there's something about, billionaire that doesn't entice me, and I'm not enticed to read them at all. So I'm going to put no. Sorry if you like your billionaire romances. Ooh, rivals to lovers. Oh god. I feel like rivals to lovers is hard. It kind of falls in vain with enemies to lovers, but it kind of doesn't because I read that rivals to lovers is they don't necessarily hate each other, but they're in a situation where they have to compete against each other. So usually like it's like they work in the same workplace and they're up for like the same job, the same promotion or something. And I've only read a couple. I feel like again though, I do like that tension, the competitiveness. So even though I feel like I don't know why, if I define it in that sense, I don't know if I've read that many. But for this one, I'm still gonna say yes because I feel like it's one I just would enjoy. If I read it in that like truer sense that they don't necessarily hate each other. Okay. Oh, forced close proximity. Okay. This one's hard. I feel like this is a love hate one maybe for me. I do like it, but I don't at the same time because it's overdone quite a bit, usually like maybe fake dating romances, I would say. And it's great. It creates like these funny situations, scenarios in the story. Might break up like something more, I don't know, serious that's going on in the storyline in a sense. But I can already feel I'm struggling and I'm hesitating. So this one I'm gonna say maybe because this close proximity gets ridiculous for me. Like literally ridiculous. Situations that I can't take it seriously and it gets kind of cringy for me. Oh, long distance romance. Okay, this is gonna be weird. I can only think of one book right now, maybe, where there was a long distance romance. Maybe more than one, but the only one I can think of right now for some reason is Abby Jimenez's The Happy Ever After playlist. I think that's what it's called. The one with Sloane and Jackson. I think that was his name. I don't remember what his real name was though. That was like his stage name because he was a musician in that one. That was the only one where they technically had long distance, and I loved that book. I love that book a lot. Um, the way the romance and they worked things out in the end, even though they were in such a hard situation with him being on the road. And I think I love long distance romance in general. I have to admit, I've never been in one in my own life myself, but my parents did have long distance romance for a bit, and I know, a bunch of friends who've tried to do long distance romance. Unfortunately, it's sad. A lot of times it doesn't work out in real life, but when people are able to work out long distance romance and stay together, and even, they end up getting married and having kids and all of that, it's just such a happily ever after because you guys know long distance is hard. Even with being able to text, video call, whatever other platform you're using to stay in touch, long distance is hard. And it's just, when you really love the person you love, you want to be together. Like, you want to be, sorry, excuse me, physically, oh my god, excuse me. That's so embarrassing. I keep doing that. You want to be physically together. You guys know if you have someone that you love. Or that could even apply to even just other people in your life that you love, like a friend, your parents, your siblings, your dog. I don't know. You just want to like physically be with people you love. There's something special. Anyways, let's try to keep it moving because we are more than halfway through, but man, again, this is a long episode. Okay, celebrity versus normal person romance. Ooh. This one's always been iffy for me because I've read some I liked, like the book I just mentioned, Happy Ever After playlist, but there's other ones like Funny You Should Ask. Shoot, it's like the one that was kind of big on Book Talk and like the online book community for a while by Alyssa Sussman. It's like Funny Something. That's bothering me, and I'm probably gonna have to go look up the title afterwards. But yeah, that one I did not like at all. And I don't know why. The writing in it was pretty good. I don't mind usually flashback, dual timeline. Because yeah, that one was in then and now. But yeah, I didn't really like the characters in that one for some reason. They weren't memorable. I don't know if it's because like the time I was reading it, the mood I was in, and like in a slump. But yeah, this one, for some reason, it can be iffy. Depending on how the author writes, I would say the celebrity. If the celebrity is like too out of touch, even from the start of the story and going forward, it's kind of cringy for me. So that one is a maybe. Oops, I wrote no. Sorry. That one is a maybe. Okay, let's go. Ooh, bodyguard romance, 1MC. Okay. This is probably gonna sound biased yet again. Okay, I think the main bodyguard romance I've read is Practice Makes Perfect. And I love that one. I loved Will and oh no, Annie? Annie. Sorry, I couldn't remember the FMC's name for a moment. Oh, I love that. I have to admit, I don't know how I'd feel about if the bodyguard's a female, because obviously bodyguard romances is usually the male is a bodyguard. Um, Males are still typically a lot bigger and stronger than females. But female bodyguard, I feel like could work too. I'm just unsure. But yeah, definitely like male bodyguard and then protecting, the FMC, saving her from different situations. But then he's so sweet and gentle to her, like at the same time. That and the bravery, like everything all together, it's so good. So that one is a yes. Yes. Okay. Keep going. Ooh, unexpected pregnancy. I can only think of one or two books where it came up, and okay, I know people are not gonna like me. This might change because I know there's that book Ready or Not. I think by Cara Bastione, something like that. I'm sorry, I don't remember her last name right now. That everyone was reading last year and they loved. Everyone loved that book, and I have that on my TBR because I have a feeling I'm gonna like it too. But the books that I have read, or I should say book, where unexpected pregnancy came up. Sorry. Water break. I did not enjoy. I just feel like unexpected pregnancy, it gets thrown in. Like a bunch of stuff will happen in the romance, and then they're together already, and it's like, oh, like what can happen now? Like they're already together, and oh my god, excuse me. Yeah, I just feel like it kind of gets thrown in as like a filler, a last minute filler. And it's not really meant to be part of the storyline. There's probably some books where it is, but yeah, sometimes it just gets thrown in. Like even it happens on TV shows and you're like did that really need to be thrown in there? So unexpected pregnancy, I'm gonna put no. Okay, now guys, if I sound a bit tired, it's because I've been filming for about an hour. Actually, over an hour at this rate, if you count like the breaks that I've been taking to get up, walk around, have water, because yeah, I just need little breaks. I just can't film for like over an hour straight and be okay. So if I'm starting to sound tired, I'm sorry, and I might try to speed run through the last couple of these a bit more, unless I am truly passionate about them, because I'm just yeah, this is a lot to record. I did not realize how long this was gonna be. Yet again. Okay, 34, arranged marriage. Ooh. I feel like arranged marriage is... I can't really think of a book that comes up with it. I'm gonna be honest. I feel like I know what I was thinking when I wrote this, but there's not that many. So I'm just gonna put maybe for this one. It's not... Because arranged marriage, it's not quite the same as like marriage of convenience or even fake, dating. Oh, only together for 24 hours. Okay. This is one that comes up again in that Alyssa Sussman book that I was mentioning before, but also I think Carly Fortune's Meet Me at the Lake has that trope. There's like maybe one or two other books I've read that I can't remember right now, but I'm gonna be honest, I already know I don't like this trope. It's very insta-levy for me, and for me personally, I just can't understand, like, how could you have only been spent 24 hours together, you meet like 5-10 years later, and you're in love with each other, or you still have these like intense feelings? Like I can't even remember like a day that I spent with one person and I never saw them again. Like that doesn't even live in my memory for me. So that's a no. Ooh, The One That Got Away. Okay, this one, this is bad, because I feel like it's usually along the lines of second chance romance as well. And I know this kind of thing could be iffy in real life and also in romance books. Like if the person is with like someone at the start of the story, whether they're engaged, but especially if they're married, that's where this one gets a little iffy. But otherwise, excluding that scenario, I'm gonna say yes for this one. There's something about someone that, it's the whole right person, wrong time kind of thing. Like sometimes there are certain times for some people where it's not gonna work out, but then they come back together and now it's the right time for them to be together. Um, it's kind of what ends up happening just for the summer. Like they kind of break up, go their separate ways for a while, but they come back together. That one's not the one that got away, but I was just saying. Okay, ex's best friend. Oh, that's funny. This one is the trope for roadside attractions, which I was talking about earlier. Okay. I can't think of too many other books, but again, because I like that one, I'm going to say yes. Yes, yes, yes. That was great. Um I'm not even going to elaborate more on that one. It hits. Okay. Ooh, Unrequited Love. Okay, this is hard because this is a little tricky. Because I feel like this tends to come up with there's like some sort of secondary male or female character love interest. Obviously, they like the main female or male character, and obviously the main person doesn't like them back. They're in love with their main love interest. It's something that comes up. Although it's hard because like this is usually like a bit of a side, um, yeah, romance plot. I could have said subplot. Anyways, yeah, it's never the main focus, and we only hear a little bit about usually this secondary character, so it's kind of hard. But personally, I've been a fan of Unrequited Love for a while in like any story. Um, I don't know. There's something so nice, and also, you know, it's nice to see that even though the person does have such strong feelings or even love for that main character, they're still able to let them go and move on, and or maybe even still keep in touch and be friends. And it ends up being can be a beautiful story. It doesn't have to be completely sad necessarily. So for that one, I'm going to say yes. Probably just again, it's a personal favorite. Personal preference. I feel like that is a line from a show, but I can't even remember where I heard that. I don't know. Okay, just ignore me, guys. Fake dating. Okay, obviously, this one comes up a lot. I'm gonna be honest. Ooh, I don't know if this is weird to say. I was about to say yes, but I hesitated because it's been so overdone. Like every other romance book nowadays is fake dating, and like they make a pact and like they do all this stuff. It could even be enemies to lovers, but because they have a goal, they decide to fake date to like cover something up or whatever. And I don't know, it can be a little overdone and over the top nowadays. So it sucks because I think this is one early on in my romance days, reading days, sorry, that I would have been like yes. But now I'm kind of like I'm getting a little bit tired of the fake dating, needless to say. Oh, one room slash bed. Okay, this is definitely along the lines of the forced close proximity, but this one just tends to be way too ridiculous for me. Like, really? One room, one bed, they have to share a bed. Like, I'm sorry, but because I know some people like that ridiculousness, but for me, that's just a no. Like, I can't. Like, how could there only be one bed? Actually, one room is one thing, but one bed, really? Okay. Oh, childhood friends to lovers. I don't even have to think about this one. This one is yes. Um, I think you guys have heard me talk about countless books like by Carly Fortune. Uh, uh, this is weird. Why do I feel like there's an Emily Henry that's a childhood friends to romance and I'm blanking? Actually, no, not. I think I'm getting that wrong. But yeah, obviously, Every Summer After, Love and Other Words. Those are books that I have thoroughly, thoroughly enjoyed. So, childhood friends to lovers, yes. I'm not even gonna like go into it. I just love it. Oh, friends to lovers. Okay, I think friends to lovers might be second best to childhood friends to lovers because friends to lovers they could be like adult friends, like they met in adulthood or late at the very end of the teen years or something, and then so they don't become lovers until they're adults. So definitely that's like second I was about to say second top tier. Yeah, second best to childhood friends and lovers, which I can still mark confidently as yes. Okay, guys, we're getting there. We're into the 40s. Number 43. Also, I stopped saying the numbers out loud. I was getting tired. Musician's Romance. Ooh, this one? Ooh, this one? I haven't read a lot. But every time I read one where they're both musicians, or even at least one of them's a musician, I'm always drawn to. I think I'm just drawn to very creative people in general. I feel like they just tend to have different perspectives on the world that I wouldn't think about. It's true, I guess. Sometimes when you have more of a creative side, you have less of a logical side, especially in, I think, when you write these characters in romance books. But yeah, like I said, I'm just drawn to creative people and the way they see the world. Also, kind of more the soft and gentle side that these types of people or, like I said, characters will tend to have, specifically in books. So I'm gonna say yes for this one, even though I can't think of too many musicians' romances that I've read. But there's definitely some I want to read that I can think of. Oh, older man, younger woman age gap. Okay, again, this is sorry, not opposite. Different from the May December thing where it's like at least 15 years. This is, like I said, maybe 5 to 10 years max age gap. It Okay, this is weird. I'm hesitating a little, but I'm gonna say yes for this one because there's something about an age gap that's kind of nice. Like, I guess obviously different people can attest, depending on the partner that you're with. Because I guess, like I just told you guys for myself, I'm technically in an older man, younger woman age gap in my personal life because my husband's older than me. And there is something about, the whole older man thing, taking care of the younger woman, just being very protective overall. I feel like there's, yeah, just a very high sense of protectiveness with like when the man is older, which I enjoy in a romance book and also in my real life. I like being protected. So that's a yes. I could go on, but I'm just gonna try and keep going. Ooh, military romance, usually one MC. Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I can't think of a single book I've read with military romance. I feel like there's gotta be one, but I can't think right now. And yeah, it's pretty weird for this one. I feel like that it's both MCs. It's usually only one of the MCs that, usually the male, I would say, that's in the military. So I'm gonna say maybe for this one because I just don't know. Okay, guys, we're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, insta love / love at first sight. Okay. I feel like a lot of people might feel the same if you're similar to me in some of my personality traits. So this might not be surprising that I'm gonna say no for this one. Yeah, this is one that I've never enjoyed. Like even in my early romance reading days, I'm just not. I love just more of. Oh my gosh. Sorry, you guys. I know I'm probably going way off track, but I didn't put slow burn romance in this list. Okay, if you're watching on video, you can see my visible reaction to that. Obviously, you heard my reaction if you're only listening on audio, but oh my god, I cannot believe I didn't put slow burn. Wow, I might have to do a part two of this type of episode because I don't know why I did not put slow burn. It's because I don't read that many slow burn. I really don't, but what I was gonna say anyways about insta love is that there's something about having more of a slow burn romance that's more I keep using the word endearing, but yeah, just more endearing to read about, like seeing the characters like slowly fall for each other. I think like also like have a foundation of understanding and respect when they take more time to like actually get to know each other and not just like falling in love right away. Insta love also tends to be very physical and like, oh, honestly, they just want to do it. Man, I hope that's not explicit if I say that, but that's the truth. Okay, anyways, let's keep going. Rich versus poor. Ooh, this one's probably a maybe. I can't like. It's something that comes up, I'm sure. And this is hard because some of these are very sub trope. They're not main trope. I feel like these ones I've written down. So it's very hard to recall books where I'm like, oh, where was one where like they were rich versus poor? Ooh, brother's best friend. Oh, I can think of one. Oh crap, I think it was called Falling for You. Um, Caroline Frank, I think was the author. I don't know. It was some kind of this cheesy romance series that I think was on Kindle Unlimited that I picked up. I want to say in 2023 I read it. It was definitely before I like started the podcast at all. I wasn't really recording my reviews. So that book, like, it was not well written at all by any means, and the storyline too was bad. That was also the one that there was unexpected pregnancy thrown in, and I did not really like that because it totally just felt like filler. The point where the author inserted that, but I did like the whole brother's best friend trope in that. The whole again secrecy, sneaking around creates like these kind of funny scenarios. So I'm gonna say brother's best friend, yes. If you guys know what series I'm talking about, then good for you. It's not really one that's highly talked about. Like I said, it's kind of just one of those cheesy ones I just came across. Okay, second last trope: marriage of convenience or fake marriage. Ooh. Oh God. This one's kind of weird. I feel like I kind of enjoy it, but at the same time I don't. Like I said about some of the other tropes. Okay. This one's kind of weird because I was gonna say yes at first, but I'm thinking maybe because there's just the aspect about that it's always unbelievable for me. Like usually the characters will like barely know each other. Maybe they're even just a mutual acquaintance or something, and then all of a sudden one of them's in a situation they're like, I need to get married to stay in the country and like something, and then they just make this written contract, and then all of a sudden they're married. It's like, what the heck? I don't know. To me, marriage, obviously is very sacred and special in real life. And yeah, whenever it's written in books, I'm just like, I don't know, I could just get married. Like, obviously, I know it happens in real life as well. People do have marriage conveniences, but yeah, that's a very iffy one for me. Okay, guys, I know this is getting to be over an hour, but we are finally on the last trope, and that is book lovers romance. And I'm really smiling because I already know this one's a yes. I'm also amazed that I seriously got through my whole list already. I don't know, it doesn't feel like it. And rip, where is it? Oh, there it is. Yes. Okay, and what I mean by book lovers romance is it's industry related again. So usually like our MMC or FMC or both are in the publishing industry in some way. So they could be a writer, an editor. I think book lovers, she was like a publishing agent, or yeah, an agent for various authors at this publishing company. Uh, I don't know. Like, you can be like a journalist, like maybe even like the news industry. But yeah, usually I would say the publishing industry, like books, novels. Even if they're a librarian, like in Funny Story, where Daphne was a librarian, I think that's kind of cool. And I think, I can't remember. I might have said it in episode 20 when I was talking about Emily Henry's new book coming out. How, of course, it makes sense that authors will tend to write some books with characters who are in the publishing industry because, they're writers. They're kind of fascinated with that, and I'm also a book lover, and I like to write on my own time, sometimes still. So that's something I'm very interested in. And of course, makes sense. I'm going to love reading about people who also love books in, one way or another. So, yes, like I said, hard yes. And those are all of my 50 most popular romance tropes marked yes, no, or maybe. I hope you guys really did enjoy that episode because, between recording, all the editing, and obviously everything that I'm going to have to do for this took quite a while to do. But I will say it was pretty fun going through that very, very long list. Especially for my romance boys and girls out there. I'm going to say, I hope you really enjoyed this. And I'm also curious to know before we go, how long you guys prefer each of the episodes to be. Do you prefer episodes on the shorter side, so like probably 30 minutes max, maybe less, maybe 15, 20 minutes even? Or do you prefer episodes on the longer side like today where we ended up going over an hour? Or, yeah, your episodes being around an hour in length. Personally, for myself, I prefer 30 minutes or less because I tend to put on a podcast when I'm doing very short tasks, like tasks that will only take up to half an hour. So I don't really like listening to long podcasts where I know I'm gonna have to pause and then go back to it later. And then depending on when I go back, I might not remember what I listened to. Anyways, I'm rambling a little bit here. But yeah, if you guys want to let me know via any of my socials, even how long you prefer your episodes, that would be great. So I have something to keep in mind for the future. Personally, because it's easier, I will keep most of my episodes on the shorter side. But if you guys really are into those longer episodes, then I will keep that in mind to sprinkle in here and there. But just remember and know how much more time and effort will have to be put in to doing those longer episodes. So again, I hope you really appreciate them. And again, today's episode and the whole theme for kind of this month of love in February. But anyways, with all that being said, I hope you all have a wonderful day. And I'd love to hear if you have any plans for Valentine's Day, which is actually coming up very soon by the time this episode will be released. And yeah, whatever plans you have, whether you have a significant other or not, or yeah, whether you're gonna have Valentine's Day or you're gonna hang out with your dog, yeah, whatever it is. But besides that, I will see you all back here in episode 24. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you were able to take away something and be sure to follow the podcast for more bookish content. Until next time, stay fully booked and I'll talk to you soon.